Another short track late model series? Come on, man. Do we really need that? Let's go in the dirty air and talk about it. Turn them loose, Doc. Hit that countdown. Friends, another edition of Dirty Air with Rodney. As I am the aforementioned Rodney Rodriguez. Before we get into this stuff, happy Thanksgiving to all of you. And I hope that you're going to spend some time with your loved ones and enjoy the thrifts, as they talk about family, food, and football. You put her that you choose to put them in. Okay, let's go diving in. We talk here, you know what dirty air is. The thing they talk about all the time when the cars are racing and they get in dirty air and stuff doesn't work right. So that's what this show's always been about. We talk about all the topics and I give my little spin. Who am I? I'm just been in racing all of my life. I've done different facets of auto racing, but this is a sports show. So it's not just talk racing, but racing seems to be the one that comes to full tilt. Back to the initial question. Been in this sport for a long time. Spectator. My dad was a great car racer in South Texas. I later took over the helm. Not so great of a car racer, but did it for a long time. Still have not quit. I retired. I'm still available for hire. I have a suit that fits and a helmet and a Hans device that is still in date. I am a race announcer. I also do sports talk and race broadcasting and race stuff. So we get the big announcement yesterday. And I'm doing this on the 26th, which is the day before Thanksgiving. We get word that there is a brand new stock car series that is going to be coming into the fold in 2026. And here it is. It is the IHRA stock car series. And you can see that they've come out with they've got a rule book. They've got a very detailed rule book, I like to say. I took a good look at that this morning. And here are the dates that they've released. And it's a very broad. You go to Virginia, Georgia, Tennessee, South Carolina, Indiana, Tennessee, and Tennessee. So it's very spread out. And the initial response from a lot of folks in the industry is, why are we doing this? There are enough of these tours and enough of these series that are, which I totally agree that you've got some discontent between different racing series, and it's oversaturated, you would say, in a very small pool. When you look at the dirt track racing series, and the dirt track series are going in the same direction, I'd like to say. I think that's conception a lot of times where the dirt track folks seem to kind of frown upon these things, but they as well are getting oversaturated. But we'll talk about that some other time. But so here's a series, again, with super late models. You've got obviously the ASA Stars, where you have Southern Super Series. You've got the UARA. You've got CRA. You've got, all the different ones. The list goes on and on and on, that vary by region. But some of those, more particularly along the southeast, are in direct competition, and that's where things have tended to get a little sour, and things are done that I think they quite frankly hurt each other with some of the stuff they do with scheduling and tires and whatever the case may be. But those people are all my friends. They respect my opinion. I respect what they do, and I've worked for all of them. So I'm not going to get on a tangent about that. I think that there's a way where everybody can get along, but sometimes those efforts really don't happen. This right here, I think when the initial thing dropped, and again, when you saw IHRA stock car series, the immediate thought is, okay, here we go, more competition. This, if you go in and look at what they're doing and what the motto and the different things that they've released is catering more to where we see a lot of the trying to get to the homegrown, trying to get to where racing was, and I totally like that. And most series start that way. Let's be very honest. I mean that's how that happens. But what the IHRA stock car series is, and you need to go in, you can check out the full press release on their Facebook page, which is IHRA Racing. They are not paying me to promote them. I'm just telling you this for full content so you can go look at rules and so. This is more this is catered more to the late model stock, to be very honest with you. There are 3 engine packages that are available for these teams. You've got the GM 525, which is the most popular one. There's a Ford crate in there, and there's another engine option available. Everything is laid out there. No bump stops, none of that. It is very much a late model stock car, what they're looking to do. So it's where a lot of this is being frowned upon. I do see why the IHRA, and I'll get more into IHRA here in just a minute, but why the IHRA is doing this, because the late model stocks have gotten increasingly popular due to the fact of the Cars Tour, which again, a great tour. But if you go back and look in the last year, what's been the consensus on the Cars Tour? That it's a developmental series for NASCAR, that it's a Harvick type training ground and everything. So it is grown itself into something that it initially was set up in one way, and then there was an owner change, and that's what happens in these circumstances, to where when you get people that are more morphed, I guess we can call it, in racing, and that have the finances are better and they're able to do different things. That's how the series blossom out of control. And that's the same thing with a local short track. You get a entry level series. That's why I have put, for the longest time in short track racing, I have put a local division, as I like to call them, a local division. Let's just call it a street stock division, whatever the case may be. You can take that class that it's built to be entry level, it's built to be more affordable, but then whether it be a race promoter, a race owner, and then more often than not, drivers and teams that want to, why don't we do this? Wouldn't it be neat if we could? It's easier for us to get a hold of non-stock parts, which are OEM type of parts that are completely compatible, that will keep things affordable and will keep things more in the realm of what these divisions are set to be. But then you get to, it would be easier. The crate engine thing is one thing that, to me, I love this concept that we're seeing with this division, where they're going in a late model stock car with the crate option. And I think engine builders aren't happy with that, which, the premise of a crate engine is it's something that's sealed. There are different ways to cheese things to make sure that they are still with the factory seals and everything that comes out of whoever manufactured that. And that does. I mean, that hurts the business of engine builders. And I totally understand that. But in this circumstance, I think it's very good. But what happens in those divisions where you get the entry level, and then folks want to start doing just a little bit more, let's make some slight enhancements that make the competition better. That's where what this series is saying is that they want to build something it's not going to be a matter of outspending your competition. And that's what pro late model racing, super late model racing, on the dirt side, that's exactly what it has become. I mean, whether it be with engine dyno stuff. The big thing is with shocks, whether it be with those things where you can actually go out and you were able to outspin. This is built, and I say it's, and again, go check that reference to where how the rules are written to try to keep everything on a more level playing field, like they all start. But then let's add this, let's do that. It blossoms in, and to me, it's always been a 5 to 7 year cycle of these divisions, these classes, to where at whatever point that said division blossoms into something else, and then boom, starting back over to where you have an entry level with 4-cylinder modifieds and mini stocks and tuners or whatever you call them on dirt. Those seem to be one to where that's more equalized. But then at the same time, you see folks that have been in those divisions for a long, long time that are the perennial winners in those. And it all goes back to budget, but that's not what I'm here to talk about. So with IHRA, and this is where, well, who is that? The International Hot Rod Association. That is nothing new. Folks on the drag racing side, and I think general race fans know that this is not anything new whatsoever. The National Hot Rod Association is, I mean, the most familiar name that you're going to find in drag racing, and that's the NASCAR, World of Outlaws. You insert the diff genre that you're talking about with motorsports, and that's what the NHRA is. I mean, that's where you go and you see the stars, you see the John Force, you see the Leah Pruitts, and the Enders. I mean, that's that. But IHRA, and I'm not telling you stuff that you don't already know, but I just kind of want to give you my thought on what this is all about. The IHRA has been around since Larry Carter founded this thing in, I think, November of 1970, and built this thing into what I mean, you can go back and do your own research on the IHRA. I mean, you've had, and same thing as what you see with the NHRA, to where, Top Fuel, Funny Car, Pro Stock. I mean, you've had the most top echelon of drag racers that have raced in IHRA, but it was that the NHRA had the power and they superseded them. And as it usually happens in situations like this, the IHRA kind of faded away a little bit. And you have, for a long time, I know in Texas, we had IHRA sanctioned drag strips that are now closed, like most things in Texas when it comes to anything involving pavement. Way to go, Houston Motorsports, that you still are carrying the torch for us. But it went away and it faded away. And what happens when two things happen when that happens? One, it goes away, and we're sitting here reliving great memories of the days past. And you have independent racetracks, or in this case, drag strips, trying to run without any type of sanction, without any type of support from a sanctioning body. Or number two, that happens. Maybe it doesn't, but it gets bought, it gets purchased, and it gets assumed by somebody. And that's what's happened with the International Hot Rod Association. It has some folks have taken that over, and they've gone in, and from the knowledge that I've gathered, it's people that have the resources and readily available to try to build something. And they, again, are touting this for the grassroots, for the what we are accustomed to back in the old days. And the other part of this is with the stock car series, what it is that they went down the stock car route. I think that they should be applauded. I don't know these folks personally. I hope to talk to them at some point, but that's a very smart move. Don't go down the pro late model route. The UARA just announced that they're going to have a pro as well. That's going to be able to go. I don't know if it'll go head to head with what happens in Pensacola and the different divisions up north. And then, of course, like I mentioned with super late models, I think we have enough of those. So don't go down that route. But what they did is they found the little niche right there that you wanted to, that I mentioned earlier, to where it's like the Cars Tour has gotten to the point where it's, I don't want to say not affordable, because it's still that grassroots effort, but it's tailored to the higher dollar team, and it's tailored more to better resourced individuals and teams. So this is great. But here's the other part where folks are like, IHRA, come on now. Go look at the IHRA 2026 drag racing schedule. And it nowhere says national. It does not. But what they have done is, for one thing, they're going back to Atlanta. And again, with the effort that they are putting together, they're going back to the Atlanta Dragway. I think that's the name of it. They're going back there. That was a staple on the NHRA schedule for a lot of years. And then it wasn't able to continue. Same situation like IHRA. It was purchased or acquired by someone that has the resources to have it available for competition. Boom. IHRA is there. They've got an event there. There are two other tracks scheduled in that same situation. So what they've done is what, we can call it digging for straws or whatever, what NASCAR did with North Wilkesboro and with Bowman Gray and all the different places where you're seeing NASCAR trying to get back to the roots. IHRA is doing that very quietly. They did that. And that's where you have to go and look at the total embodiment of what they're doing. The stock car thing is just a byproduct of their entire model. Oh, by the way, they have a couple of drag boat series as well that they're building in to their fold. So it's not something. It is not a fly by night effort whatsoever. Is it going to work? I don't know. I love the venues. I mean, I love what they're doing here with the stock car series. And I will tell you again, I do love that rules package to where they've gone. And it does. It eliminates all the stuff that really makes it to where it gets hard for this doesn't have to be your full-time job. It doesn't have to be your full-time job to be doing this all the time. And when you look at this stock car series schedule, look at the dates. March 21st, April 18th, May 30th. You can read that all on your own. See a pattern? You see a pattern there? There is a lot of time in there for them, for teams, for individuals that want to race in this series to be able to be prepared and go run these races. Travel is going to be involved in any form or facet that you're doing. I know a lot of racers that complain about travel, but they won't race continually at their home track. They're going to skip a home track date to go run at times in another state for big money. And big money is on the line here with this. The plot is there. This is a lot of money that's going to be available for teams or individuals that choose to do this. And the other part of it is what usually happens in situations like this. You're going to have the big hitters. You're going to have the high resource people that are going to in, and they're going to want to try to be a part of this. And they're going to want to try to staple themselves and be the dominator in this. Nobody wants to go into a new series or a new track and be Jag, just a guy. They want to dominate. But it really seems like with the rules packages put together and the that are put together, that this is something that can really work. I'm just going to say, let's give it a shot. Let's give it a chance. It's not going to affect your supers. It's not going to affect your pros. It's not going to affect it. It doesn't affect your outlaws. Doesn't affect your modifieds. Doesn't do any of that. They have developed a late model stock car series that is something other than the Cars Tour. And this is like I talked about on the last episode of this program, where with that SRX thing and all of that mess that's now coming to fruition, IHRA is not coming in here to try to compete or try to dismantle or do anything to the Cars Tour. The Cars Tour is the giant. The Cars Tour has built something that people are going to try to copy. And that's kind of the template of what has happened right here. And IHRA, it just goes in with all of the business plans, what they're doing on the drag racing side, what they're doing on the boat side. It just fits in perfectly with the moves that they're looking to make to try to establish themselves to where they're not just going to be the drag racing series, International Hot Rod Association. It makes sense. It really does. I mean, that you can have a hot rod doesn't just have to be a show car. It doesn't just have to be a drag car, a type of hot rod. You got a race car, you probably call it a hot rod. Going to work on the hot rod. It might be your mistress. I don't know. We all have different nicknames for them. So this, don't let this, let's not jump so quick to the negative on this. Let's kind of let this play itself out a little bit and see how the series works. I can tell you again from what I've gathered from apparently the brain trust and the folks behind all of this, that if this is something that looks like it's not going to work, or if this is something where they're going to take a loss, or this is something they feel is not going to be something that they can carry on throughout, they're probably going to go in a different direction. And I think where it's so important to have a little bit of support and the streaming package as well. I don't know where it's going to be. I don't know who's going to produce it. I don't know any of that stuff yet. That's all coming together. That's apparently something that's going to be, very, very intriguing to watch, and something that's going to be a very good product. Where you can hang your hat on this new endeavor is that we see so many times that folks come into this sport and they're going to promise the moon, and they're going to have all of these ideas, and they really don't have the resources to be able to even do half of what they're hanging their nuts on. It's not the case right here. That is not the case. That all of that is there. I think it's up to everybody to support it and give it a little bit of a chance to see if it's something that could evolve itself into something special. And with a schedule like that, and again, a lot of times when you see endeavors like this come out, you get a schedule hung up in front of you, and it's like, man, they're swinging for the fences, man. This is like, I mean, Aaron Judge is at the plate, and he is going to jack this thing out of the yard. This is manageable, and I think it's something that could work out pretty well, pretty well. So let's give it a chance. So that's your little synopsis for me on my thoughts and the IHRA. Again, this is not fly by night. This is a full operation that they seem to be putting together to cover various pieces of motorsports. Again, not competing directly with in any form or fashion with the super stuff, with the Cars Tour, with NASCAR, with none of that. On the drag racing side, not trying to go in and woo over the top stars of the NHRA. On the drag boat side, not trying to go in and blow them out of the water, literally or figuratively. They're going in to give people another option. And again, that's where a lot of folks say there are enough options. Yes, there are a lot of options to do different things in motorsports with classes. But when you get the affordability and the more of the fair playing field, that's where a lot of the folks that have been priced out or have been burnt out, I mean, literally have been burned out of doing this, gives them a chance to go in there and do something pretty cool. So we'll see how it all plays out. But anyway, IHRA Stock Car Series coming in 2026. Check out their Facebook page to get all the details. Read those rules thoroughly, and I think that you'll be pretty impressed with what you see. All right, friends, Thanksgiving is coming up on Thursday, which is tomorrow, because this is a program, Dirty Air with Rodney Rodriguez, that is being produced on Wednesday evening. You guys enjoy that family time, and we'll regroup. We'll dive back in. That big old trial I was talking about on the last episode of DA with RR, that starts on Monday. So we'll have some opinions and good stuff on that. All right, friends, enjoy that time. Enjoy the happiness. Enjoy the football, family, and friends. You put it in your own order, and I'll see you next time. It's good. Times like this, my friends, Dirty Air is just a tad bit better. Be well, everybody.